I'm I'm beaming from year to year. Thank you for that lovely introduction. A warm welcome to all of you present today. It's been a while since we have met online, and it couldn't come at a more opportune time because the weather outside is playing spoil sport, and there is no excuse not to log on to this meeting and be present for it here. It's trust me, at the end of the 2 hours, you're going to say it's better than the afternoon nap that I avoided, not to mention Netflix. Okay, there are a lot of times that when we, as a president, I wonder like, what should I speak about? Uh, and then some idea, sometimes you're going about your daily work and an idea just pops into your mind. But sometimes you'll have to think through and say, what can I share with my fellow members that will really make a difference, will really impact them? And today I wanted to share something, an experience from my heart. Uh, we all know that 2020 and 2021 have been hard on us, right? The life that we knew went for a spin, and we got more time. We all wanted more time with our family, but we got a lot more time together than we bargained for. People were battling illnesses, and with the world looking like it is from a freak movie with the virus taking humans down, it looks in 2021, it looks like once we are vaccinated, this sad story is over, and the human beings triumph again. But if I look back at 2020, I know that everybody in this room who's logged into this meeting is fortunate in one way or the other. Whether you were impacted by the coronavirus or not, you had access to a safe physical home where you and your family members could stay and protect yourself from the deadly virus, which we cannot see. And come to think of it, how did you get this lucky? How did you actually have that place called your home? It was because somebody in your house, in your family worked hard. Maybe it is you yourself who bought the house. Maybe it is your spouse, your parents, sometimes could be grandparents. But somebody slogged, they worked hard, they invested, they planted a seed. And then here you are today, safe on a rainy day when it's Corona and the world is really unsafe. There is no other safer place than your own home. And then you have a safe place to stay. So despite what happened in the last year and early part of this year, we all had a little bit of time on our hands to plant some seeds. So did you plant any seeds? I know that some of the members here, they planted a new seed, the one to learn about public speaking, to become better public speakers. And when you plant a seed, you don't reap the next day. It takes years. You got to nurture it. And then one day you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the crunchy fruits. And you can look around and say, oh, they don't have the fruit that I have. But do you know in your heart of hearts that you slogged and you work hard for it? But just because you plant a seed, don't think it's going to grow automatically. Let's go back to our nursery school lessons. What does a plant need? It needs a good atmosphere. A seed, it needs good air to thrive on. And that, if I make an analogy with Dhwani Toastmasters, the energy that the fellow members bring into the club is like the air that we need to thrive on. A seed also needs sunlight to look up to grow. And I think our mentors and the advanced speakers in the club and in the Toastmaster fraternity are like that beam of sunshine. And what else do you need? It's not enough still. You need good, strong soil. And this soil you must provide. It comes with your commitment. That is the strong soil. A lot of us were as shaken by the world outside, but some members choose to quit and some members choose to stay firm. Maybe they attend fewer meetings, maybe they take fewer roles, but they kept their journey going. So which means that you don't have to plant a new seed, you just have to keep nurturing the current seed. And last of all, the most important, water, which is your constant tending, and which is something that you need to provide constantly to a seed and to yourself, to your Toastmaster, and to that public speaker in you as well, in the form of participating in meetings, taking roles, and actually being present to the commitment that you have made. And with all this, if you do all this, a few years down the line, you are going to be better prepared to handle impromptu conversations. You're going to be a better leader. And when others don't have the advantages, people are going to look at you and say, wow, here is a natural speaker. And you can laugh on the inside and know, well, it didn't come naturally to me. It doesn't come to most people naturally. It requires a lot of effort. And you carefully tended this in you. And today I see a lot of little beams of sunshine who have joined us, members of the Gavalier Club. You give us extra energy. Thank you for coming here and making it to the meeting. And we also have a special sunshine being who has a funny bone and is going to teach us how to tickle our funny bone. So welcome, DTM Veera. With that, I would like to open the meeting today. And now I would like to call on any guests who are there in the meeting. Could you unmute yourself and introduce yourself, how you heard about us and what you expect from the meeting today? I see Tejas. Could you unmute yourself? And
good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, I'm Tejas Raghavan. I was part of another Toastmaster club earlier in Pune. I recently relocated to Bangalore. So I'm looking to continue my journey with Toastmasters.
Welcome, Tejas.
Thank you.
I see Shreya. Could you please unmute? Tell us how you heard about us and also what you expect from our meeting.
Hi. I actually, I just randomly Googled it and I found Dhwani on the website. So yeah, and I heard that some sense of humor and I just saw that and I'm like, okay, something funny is going to happen today. And I'm like, okay, let's join.
Okay. Welcome, Shreya.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody else? Any other guests?
Yes. Hi, this is Vijay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes,
okay. Yeah. So I have been a member of BTM Toastmaster Club earlier, but from past few months I have not continued. So I just wanted to continue my journey with. I wanted to try out Dhwani by attending. It had been a long pending item from my side to actually attend some of the sessions of Dhwani, and if possible, become a member there also as well. One of my friend also is here, Vivek Nayak, who is also happens to be my ex-colleague from the from Software AG. So my expectation from Toastmaster is, for me immediately, I would like to rejoin Toastmaster and work more on my communication skills.
Thank you. You're at the right place. And like I mentioned, it's the perfect time as the world is looking up to nurture the talent of public speaking.
Sure, Vinita, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else that I've missed out?
Hi, my name is Shalini Gurthi. I heard about this Toastmaster from one of my friends and wanted to learn from this meeting about the public speaking, and that's it. Thank you.
Well, welcome, Shalini. Thank you for joining us. Okay. Anybody else? Thank you. I know there are a lot of Cavaliers and we can't wait to hear from you. And table topic master, please make sure that you call some of our Cavaliers. We would love to have them speak. And with this, let us get on with the meeting. Now, to conduct the meeting, to take the meeting forward, I would like to introduce a special Toastmaster who joined us this year and who's a a speaker who always smiles and who always aces her impromptu speaking. I love the energy that she brings on stage. She's done her master's in structural engineering and a certified charter engineer from the Institute of Engineers. She's worked with the ITC group as a design engineer, and she's currently on an extended maternal leave. She's completed her junior in classical Carnatic music. So let's put our hands together for Toastmaster Shruti, who's going to be the Toastmaster of the day. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Vinita, for that wonderful introduction. A very good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. So today's theme is consistency is the key to success. I would like to know how many of you agree with this statement. Raise your hands if you do so. Most of you. Great. I would like to ask if there's anyone who's been following something which consistently all throughout and was able to achieve their goals. Is there anybody like that here? Very few, very few. So right, in today's session, we will see how consistency is the key to success and why we are not able to achieve our goals and we are not able to be consistent in whatever we want to achieve. So, of all factors which contribute to success, consistency plays a very important role. It's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives, but it's what we do on consistent basis, repeatedly. Many of us are able to set goals, create a plan of action to achieve them. Some of us even start taking action based on the blueprint of the action plan. However, most of us stop after a while. For instance, I decide to lose weight. I want to get up early in the morning. I want to start off with a new diet. I want to go for an early morning walk. We may begin all these activities, but something happens and we discontinue. Familiar story, isn't it? I would like to share a small story with you all. The story about the Chinese bamboo tree, and we'll see how consistency and success are related to each other. Like any other plant, to flourish, Chinese bamboo tree requires nurturing, water, fertile soil, and sunshine. In the first year, there are no visible signs of activity or development. In the second year, again, no growth above the soil. Third and the fourth year, still no sign. Now, patience is tested and we begin to wonder if our efforts will ever be rewarded. Imagine, finally, in the fifth year, the bamboo tree shoots up to the sky. In 6 weeks, the bamboo tree grows 80 feet tall. Imagine if the watering was stopped at any point during those 5 years, the plant would have died. So what was happening all these 5 years? Was it dormant for 4 years only to grow exponentially in the fifth year? Well, Toastmasters, underneath the ground was strong unseen foundation that was taking place, an enormous network of roots developing to support bamboo's growth, bamboo's sudden growth. Growth takes patience, perseverance, and consistency. Every drop of water made a difference. Likewise, every step you take makes an impact. So have patience. You may not see changes right away, but remember, growth is happening. So don't lose your heart. Give it some time. The story of Chinese bamboo tree is a perfect parable of how being consistent leads to success. So what we infer from this story is patience and belief that growth is happening. Now, staying consistent seems very easy on the surface, easier said than done, but it can be achieved only if you are focused and committed towards your goal. You need to be patient. Those signs of progress are slow, frustrating, and unrewarding at times, like the bamboo tree, but it's worth it provided you're patient and persistent. So, journey from Toastmaster Naina to DTM, Distinguished Toastmaster Naina, did not happen just like that. It happened only because she was consistent, persistent, and patient enough. So, guys, if you are ravenous for success, then consistency and patience is the key. Let us thank Mr. Ralph C. Smedley for establishing Toastmasters Club on October 22nd, 1924, and designed Toastmasters sessions and pathways in such a way that if we consistently attend the meetings and take active participation, surely we will achieve our goals. Having said that, proceeding with the meeting, every Toastmasters meeting have 3 sessions, which is consistently followed to brighten and sharpen our public speaking skills. The first one is prepared speech section. The second one is table topics. Third one is evaluation. And today we have a special educational session. Before we begin with the session, I would like to introduce our general evaluator for today's meeting. Our general evaluator is a mechanical engineer with over 12 years of corporate experience who makes the leap from corporate job to entrepreneurship. He is an entrepreneur specialized in engineering products. He is a Toastmaster for 5 years, president for 2 terms, and a treasurer for 2 terms. Values and morals are his great belief. He runs a family education trust that provides education to poor, meritorious, deserving students and ensures to stand by them until they become employable. So that's Toastmaster Jayasimha for you. So Toastmaster Jayasimha, I request you to introduce your team. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shruti, for the very nice introduction. I'm the general evaluator for today. And as general evaluator, I will be evaluating the whole meeting from the beginning to the end, and have a few members in my team to assist me in my evaluation. They are called the tag team, the timer, the R counter, and the grammarian. Let me ask the tag team to come to talk about what their responsibilities and what they're going to do today in today's meeting. Let's start with the timer. Timer for today is distinguished Toastmaster Naina. Naina, will you please unmute yourself and tell what actually is the objective of your role?
Thank you, General Evaluator Jeshima. Speaker is Toastmaster Prasanna, who is delivering his icebreaker speech, and his speech will be 4 to 6 minutes. At 4 minutes, I will flash the green card, and at 5 minutes, the yellow card, and at 6 minutes, the red card. The speaker has 30 seconds grace period. And the evaluator has 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I'll flash the green card, and 2 minutes, 30 seconds, the yellow card, and at 3 minutes, the red card. And the evaluator also has 30 seconds of buffer time. The speakers, the table topic speakers have 1 to 2 minutes time. At 1 minute, I'll flash the green card. At 1 minute, 30 seconds, the yellow card, and at 2 minutes, the red card, and they have 30 seconds of grace time. Speakers who speak less than 1 minute, their speech will be disqualified. Today we are having an educational session, which will be of 25 minutes speech and 5 minutes for question and answer. For the session speech, I'll flash the green card at 20 minutes and the yellow card at 23 minutes and the red card at 25 minutes. For the question answer session, at the end of 5 minutes, I will flash the red card. And that's my explanation. Over to the general evaluator.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Naina. The educational session will be after the prepared speeches?
No, after it will start with the educational session, and then our regular session will go on.
So we start the day with the educational session, and then our regular session starts, right?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Naina. Let's hear from the accounter what her role is. Accounter for today is Toastmaster Kokila. Kokila, over to you. Please unmute yourself, Kokila.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm playing the role of being responsible for the counter today, and this is my first time. I will keep my ears open. I have already kept them open, and I will be looking for speakers who repeatedly say well, so, like, but, and any other repeats. And this I will be recording in my book, and when I'm called for, I will give my report. Thank you, TM Jaisima.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Kokila, for clarifying what your role is. Remaining for the day, Toastmaster Sudarshan, will you please tell us what your role is?
Thank you so much. Thank you. As my name board suggests, I'm the god for today. I mean, I'm the grammarian of the day. And my role is to keep a track of all the good and not so good uses of the English language. And I shall be giving my report at the end of the day. And today's word of the day is ravenous, pronounced as ravenous, meaning extremely hungry or famished or starved or gluttonous. And the phrase of the day is ravenous for success, and already TMOD Shruti has used it. Excellent, super. And another example for ravenous is I'm ravenous for an offline meeting. Hungry for an offline meeting. Okay, that's my take. Over to you, G. Jaisima.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sudarshan. So that's it. So as for the first session of my evaluation is concerned, I'll come back at the end of the meeting and give the report along with my tag team. Over to the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Shruti.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Jaisima and all the tag team role takers. Well, can you imagine life without laughter? Not possible, right? Then how can we not include them in our speeches, isn't it? So, extremely important aspect is humor, laughter to be present in life. So, today we are having an educational session where we are going to learn how to spice up our speech through humor. To conduct this session, we have with us a warm and an affable person, an artist at par, whose forte is humor, a consistent Toastmaster for over 20 years, and a charter member of 2 clubs. She is an NLP coach who has co-authored a book on NLP for managerial effectiveness. She is a training coordinator and conducts programs at Ahmedabad Management Association and at corporate level. So please welcome DTM Veera Karpatia to take over the stage and start off with the educational session. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you, Shruti, for that warm introduction. Question of the year, am I audible? Am I visible? Thank you. It is such a pleasure to be amongst the Dhwani club members. I've come to this club before and I've always enjoyed myself over here. And today I'm coming for a training session and it is my absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you, Vanita, the president. You had such a nice, warm welcome message sent to me, especially on the WhatsApp. Thank you so much for that small, caring attitude, and it warmed my heart. Naina, you have been my role model, I should say. Every time I feel lazy to make speeches, I always think of Naina and how she goes ahead with her speeches. So, Naina, you are my inspiration. Thank you for having me here. My speech today is going to be straightforward, simple. I do not have any PPT or anything. You see, I've been married for the past about 45 years. Children have left home and husband, leave aside, listen to me. He doesn't even, he even forgets to look at me at times. So if I have about 28 people giving me their undivided attention, I'm not going to share this limelight with any PPTs. I hope everybody keeps their videos on. Otherwise, it becomes like talking to God. You cannot see them and God can see you. Although we have a God amongst us, Toastmaster Sudarshan. Why humor? I think Ralph Smedley himself has put it very nicely when he said, we learn best in moments of enjoyment. So humor is that, what should I say, that butter, that grease, that smoothens our speeches. We can say things which we do not feel like saying directly with a dash of humor, and it adds value to your speech. Today, my session is divided into 3 parts. The first one is where we can use humor, how we can use humor in our Toastmasters journey. The second is how to prepare for it. And the final third one is what we call the platform performance, even if it is virtually. So let us start with how you can, where you can use humor in the Toastmasters. Let us start with our regular prepared speeches. We can always add a dash of humor to our regular prepared speeches. Those of you who were before the Pathways programs, you would appreciate that those days our communication program on the Toastmasters was very simple. We had direct speeches, we just made the speeches and according to the booklets, and that was it. With Pathways, I feel Toastmasters has become more like leaning towards leadership skills with communication. And so we have these fancy pathways, like effective coaching and leadership and things like that. At times, these subjects tend to get a little dry. Moreover, when we make a prepared speech, it's a topic that is close to our heart. It is our core competency that we are able to speak on that topic. It might not be the same for the other people in the audience. So if we are able to put a dash of humor into that speech, it would make us more relatable to the audience. We need not make full speeches with humor, just a dash of it. For example, I'm talking about marriage. I would say something like, when we got married, people thought we were made for each other. After that, for some time, we were mad for each other. Now, after so many years of marriage, we are mad at each other. Just something to add a little bit of spice to your speech. I remember the time when a person was speaking on his leadership skills, and he had a very nice twist to it. He says, the slogan of Toastmasters is, can somebody share with me? Can somebody unmute and share with me? Where leaders are made, right? So we say where leaders are made. So he said, yeah, but in my house, the slogan is where leaders are made to follow. With just those 2 words, he added that oomph to his speech. So we can add a bit of humor even to the driest of subjects. If we have some management students or people over here, you would all have heard about what is called the SWOT analysis. Yes, somebody give me a thumbs up if you all know about the SWOT analysis. Yes, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Now, if you have to speak on something about your managerial style and all that, you could add this thing to it and say, for me, SWOT analysis is different. So what is my strength? My neighbor's wife. Sorry, it is my wife. Sorry, my strength. She's my wife. And what's my weakness? My neighbor's wife. So what is the opportunity? When the neighbor is away. And what is the threat? When I am away. Something as dry as a SWOT analysis, you can add a dash of humor to it and make it spicy. Can we use humor in evaluations? Of course we can. Sometimes we are evaluating somebody who is very senior or somebody who is very sensitive and they do not like, we feel that they might not appreciate somebody giving them suggestions or saying how you can improve. They are so attached to their speech. Sometimes when you are mentoring them also, you realize he's not very open to your suggestions. So when you add a bit of humor when we are evaluating them, not at them, please, no making fun or no jokes at that person, but maybe at yourself, or make a statement, something like when you're giving them suggestions, you can say, even a beautiful face like Aishwarya Rai, once in a while, a mosquito bites her and she gets a mosquito bite. And then go on to give your suggestions. With humor, you are able to make it into something that is okay, and you are able to ease the way. And then, of course, there is the table topics. Table topics, usually, especially in competitions, are usually very inspiring topics, as I would say. They would give you some topics which are, some sayings, and you have to say something nice about it. If you're in a competition, you would have realized that the same topic is given to those 8-10 people. The person who speaks doesn't know what the person before him has spoken, and you get the same, what the youngsters call gyan in those 2 minutes of table topics. If you can take a contrarian view to what has been said, or you could add a bit of humor to it. Table topics is not a test of your knowledge. It is just your ability to stand on your feet and speak. So if you would take a contrarian view, for example, somebody says, when life gives you lemon, make lemonade. So everybody will talk about the time when life threw them some curves and they were able to get over it. Somebody supposing says, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Then call a friend who has vodka and have a gimlet with him. Immediately, the whole atmosphere, the whole speech will change. Somebody says, no pain, no gain. So people will say how good it is if you're hardworking and you have to put in efforts, and all the speeches will be like that. But if you come and you say, I gain weight without any pain, who says you have to have pain when you have to gain something? No, you completely twist the topic on its head. It would be, it would make your speech memorable, especially when there are so many table topics being made on the same subject. You will stand out in that. And then, of course, there is the tall tales. Tall tales are tales where you have to exaggerate. Humor is not compulsory, but always welcome in it. You can exaggerate much better with humor, and there is no limit to what you can say over there. And then the last, the purely humorous speeches. Of course, where you have to use only humor. You need not, this is not, you're not in the court saying, "Main jo bhi kahunga, sach ke siwa kuch na kahunga." It is a time when the whole purpose of the speech is to make everybody laugh, and you can tell whatever jokes or whatever you have made in that speech. So let me come to how to prepare for a humorous speech. Although it sounds a bit contrary, the fact is that anything that gives pain to society, anything that is not very pleasant that is happening around you, it is open for a humorous speech. Are you? Is somebody with me on this? Yes. If you're talking about your engagement or something that you went to a garden with your boyfriend, girlfriend, something like that, there is no humor in it. You're talking about a good and pleasant experience. It is only when there is some problem, some conflict, something fun happening, it is then that you can make a humorous speech out of it. It is a speech when, for going from point A to point B, you have so many hurdles to cross, so many conflicts to create, and that is what lends itself to humor. Supposing I want to make a speech on losing weight, point A to B, from so many kilos to so many kilos, it is there that I can add that dash of humor about all the problems that I had when I had to lose that extra weight. So usually for humor, we need to select a topic where you had a problem going from point A to point B. Or you can have what is called fish out of water. What is fish out of water? You are not comfortable with something that you have to do, and that lends itself to humor. I'm talking about more than 20 years back. Youngsters over here, I don't think they will relate to me, when computers had come to in our lives. It is like cryptocurrency now. Most of us can't understand how the cryptocurrencies work. Those days, computers was like that. So I had got a brand new computer, and I was the editor of a magazine for my Rotary Club. So I sat on the computer, I attended computer classes, as they were called those days, learned how to design something on the paper, on the page, and painstakingly for 2-3 hours I spent writing down the whole, whatever the magazine that I had to edit, the page that I had to make. I finished it. I didn't know what to do with it. So I tried to go to the next page, and the computer popped up and said, do you want to save the changes that you have made? I thought to myself, what changes? I have not made any changes. I have just written what I had to write. And I promptly clicked no. And so the whole thing, of course, disappeared. It might sound very childish to you now, but those days, computers was a very unknown entity for us those days. So, I mean, the frustration of it, the anger, my whole day wasted in this. So when I was talking about this to somebody else, that gentleman told me, says, oh, in my college, somebody was struggling with the computer, and she called out to the ma'am, ma'am, please come, my computer, I'm not able to open. So she said, go open the windows, I'll come. 5 minutes later, the teacher comes and she says, why is the computer switched off? I told you to open the window. He says, see, ma'am, I've already opened the window in the room. So you see, these things have happened to different people. One was to me, one was to somebody else. But I could put it together, make it my own, and talk about what problems I had learning or mastering the computer. So when you're trying to select a subject for a humorous speech, remember this in mind. You open the newspaper, see the social media. There are n number of cartoon, n number of stupid things that are being said, which lend itself to a humorous speech. Some time back, I read Google is going to take over Air India. This was before the Tatas purchased it. And I said, hey, why should Google take over Air India? What type of a news is this, And then a few days later, it was clarified that Sundar Pichai had said that AI is the way forward for Google. He meant artificial intelligence. The very brilliant journalist, AI meant Air India to him. So picking up a small, silly thing like this, you could craft a whole humorous speech in it. So when you have to make a humorous speech, look around. There is enough fodder for you to make up a humorous speech. First thing you do is jot down the points, collect all the anecdotes that are related to it, make it your own. You might have read something. Please don't copy from WhatsApp and some Google jokes. Most people read them, but make it your own. Something similar that has happened to you. Write it down and then edit it ruthlessly. The difference between a humorous speech and an ordinary other regular speech is a humorous speech requires a lot of editing. How you say the words, where you pause, where you have the punchline is of utmost importance. So start preparing for it a lot in advance. I take more than 2 to 3 weeks, if at all I can make a humorous speech. It takes that much of time to get it right. I sometimes mentor people's humorous speeches. They say, ma'am, can you mentor my speech? I'm speaking tomorrow. I say, okay, send it to me. She says, oh, I have not yet written it. They're going to speak tomorrow and they have not even written the speech the previous day. Humorous speeches do not work like that. Please edit it. In any other speech, you will speak about your domain knowledge. You have full knowledge of that and you can speak on it. Even if you fumble, even if you lose some words, forget something, you can put it because you are knowledgeable about it. In a humorous speech, that will show and it will take away from the punch of the speech. So write it down, time it properly, and then practice at home with the required pauses. A pause, a surprise element in a humorous speech is extremely important. So have some of them and practice speaking. Supposing you're going to say something like, I said no to alcohol, but the alcohol did not listen. So there is a pause is required before you can say the second part of the sentence. So please practice it as well, as much as you.
DTM Veera, you're on mute.
No, I think I've come out.
Yeah. Now
okay, sorry. So what are the do's and don'ts that you need to remember when you are adding humor to your speech or you are making a humorous speech? Some of the don'ts. A humorous speech is not a series of jokes. That is stand-up. You cannot have a series of jokes picked up from something. You're speaking on marriage. I have heard this umpteenth number of times about how a boy met the girl and how he proposed to her and all. Everything picked up from some Google, from some joke books. No. A humorous speech is a regular speech with an opening, a body, and a conclusion. There is humor in it, is the point, but it is not a series of jokes. Whenever you add anecdotes and jokes, see that they are related to your topic or to the speech that you're making. In fact, you can do it the other way around. You have heard a very good anecdote and it lends itself to a speech, make a speech around it. But you should have proper jokes, which if at all you have anecdotes, they should be relatable to that particular speech. The second one is that whenever you have characters in your speech, maybe it is your spouse, your children, your in-laws, your principal of the school, your classmates, there is a very fine line between being insulting and poking fun at them. Please be very careful not to cross the line. When you make a humorous speech, you are speaking about their eccentricities. You are not pointing fingers at them and saying something nasty about them. It is not a place to wash dirty linen in the public. So even if you're talking about your teachers, principals, spouses, do not use unsavory words. Don't even use words like stupid or idiot and all that. No, it's not done. The best thing to do is you be the protagonist of your story. You have self-deprecating humor, which is the best. You do not insult anybody. But if you have characters in your story, see that you do not use any insulting language to them. It sounds basic when I'm telling you, but a lot of times I have heard speeches which are supposedly humorous, but we cringe in the audience when they say something nasty. Even when you have poked fun at them, in the end, show love. Show love to that character. For example, one of the ladies in my club was speaking about how her husband loves to collect old things and he doesn't throw away junk. So they have a VCR and they have cassettes and they have CDs and so much of junk in their house. So she spoke about it with a lot of humor. At the end, she said, but there is a plus side to it. I'm getting older. And since my husband loves old things a lot, I know I'm going to be loved. The older I get, the more I'm going to be loved. You see, at the end, she turned it around and showed love for the character about whom she was speaking for the whole speech. The other thing, another don't is, don't get bogged down by your own importance. Sometimes you are a teacher in some school or you're a principal, you are a very famous doctor. You feel scared about poking fun at yourself, you feel, oh, I will not be respected. It isn't like that. When you poke fun at yourself, whoever you are, it makes you more lovable and more relatable. The next one is, do not say, now I will tell you a joke. Never ever say, I will tell you a joke. You can say something like, oh, that reminds me of XYZ, and then tell you this thing. There are two reasons for this. One is, if the joke doesn't land, which a lot of times it doesn't, you're fine. It was just an anecdote that you related. The second one is, if the joke lands, there will be a surprise element, and that will make people laugh more. The humor will show more. So do not ever say that. Tell what you should do. The stories that you tell should be relatable to the audience, which is very important. Sometimes we say things about which, like youngsters will have some stories about Game of Thrones and Avatara and all that. If the audience is not so young and they cannot understand it, they will not be able to relate to you. Try to make the jokes as self-deprecating as possible so that you do not hurt anybody. So now the green flag is on. So I come to the final part of it, which is the platform performance. The day on which you are actually delivering the speech. The first thing is, be relaxed and be prepared to enjoy yourself. When you are happy and when you are enjoying yourself, you will pass on that energy to the person, to the audience. And the easiest way to do it, practice your speech well, so that on the stage you are not disturbed and you are not still searching for words, and you are not able to deliver it smoothly. When you prepare the speech and you time it for 30 seconds less than the allotted time. Sometimes jokes need time to land and people will laugh, and you will have to wait for the laughter to subside to carry on. Otherwise, the words will be lost. So keep it for a little shorter time, especially if you have jokes or anecdotes which even the audience has to process. For example, in my mentoring speech, I would say, I sent my speech to my mentor and I asked him, "Sir, shall I put more fire in my speech?" And my mentor returned the speech saying, "No, do the opposite." Okay, so the audience also has to process. Do the opposite of put fire in the speech. So what? Oh, I have to put the speech in the fire, and then they will laugh. So you will have to give them that many more seconds for the joke to land. So keep that much of time for the audience to get the joke. Deliver the punches with appropriate pause. I was talking about my adventure in skydiving, and I said my co-diver was Mike, and Mike was 5 feet 2 inches. There is a dramatic, when people expect Mike to be like 6 foot, I'm saying he's just 5 feet 2. So when you have a pause, you deliver it with a proper pause. When you have a punch, you deliver it with a proper pause. Control the speed of your speaking according to your story. You might have actions, in the speech. Deliver it faster. When you have punchlines which are play on words, which are, punch this thing, deliver them softly so that the audience gets it right. The most important thing that you have to remember, enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself making that speech, and you will pass on that happy energy to your audience. What happens if the joke doesn't land? A lot of times our humorous speeches don't land. It was so funny to you when you thought about it and you wrote it down at home. The audience did not laugh. It's okay. We come to Toastmasters not to be a good speaker in Toastmasters. We come to Toastmasters to be better speakers outside Toastmasters. So this is our laboratory. It is the place safe place. We can fail, we can practice again, get up again, and deliver it once again. So do not worry about it at all. Jokes will fall flat, will be okay. The point is you have to keep on trying. Vanita, in the beginning, the president, she said, planting of seeds and seeing how the plant grows. Today, I hope I have planted a small seed in your minds to add humor to your speech. And I wish you all the very best in your journey to make humorous speeches. Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. I'm open to take questions now. Yes, I've been given just 5 minutes, so please shoot if you have any questions.
Good evening, everybody. I would like to ask a question.
Yes, Minnie. Good afternoon.
You know me, and you know how much I laugh while I tell a joke. I think people laugh just by looking at me laughing, but I never seem to be able to deliver the punchline. I don't reach, enough. I don't have enough control. How do you think I should achieve that?
Practice. That's all. Because when we think of it as a joke, we also want to laugh at it. So it's true. A lot of us start laughing when we are telling the jokes, and then the punchline gets lost in it. But it's, I think, a matter of practice.
I make them laughing. Thank you.
Start doing it. Toastmasters, as I said, is our lab for practicing whatever we want to do.
TM Veera, I'm Kokila here. I would not want to ask you a question because everything that you said had so much of clarity that it's just got drilled into my head. I would want to just congratulate you on the topic that you chose and the way you have delivered your speech. It was a speech nevertheless. And to see your smiling demeanor throughout was something that I have fallen for. And everything that you said, I have related to because I've been a teacher for 40 years or so now. And it is so very relatable. Thank you so much. Every little thing, and I have just enjoyed it thoroughly. I have also forgotten to note down certain things that I was supposed to note down as a role taker, but nevertheless, hearty congratulations. And I would love to listen to you even more and more. Thank you so much.
You are being kind, to Toastmaster.
No, I'm not being kind. I'm being very open and transparent. Whenever I appreciate it wholeheartedly.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, one question from my end is, in an online mode, how do you gauge the audience engagement? Whether they are laughing at your jokes, and that's a challenge.
It is a huge challenge, especially if they have spotlighted you. So I usually, whenever I make a humorous speech online, I for my own sake, I come out of the spotlight mode, and even just now, I am not on spotlight mode. I am on the full view so that I could see. And today, I have to say a big thank you to Dhwani Club. So many of your videos were on, and I got so much of feedback on that I'm being heard. So it's a challenge. I agree with it. We just, maybe you can tell everybody, the TMOD can say, please put a thumbs up or a heart or something when a good joke is being delivered, or when they want to clap, if they would have clapped, and you could see that. It is a challenge. I completely agree with you.
Thank you.
And one more thing that I wanted to tell you, what a lovely metaphor you have used, TM Veera, for Dhwani. You have called Dhwani a laboratory, and that's an excellent metaphor. And I loved it.
Yes, because I'm a Toastmaster for the past more than 20 years, and it has been a long journey. I started from ground zero. So it has been my laboratory for learning how to speak.
DTM Veera, I have a question.
Yes,
so when you give humorous speeches, are you at the risk of not being taken seriously of not being projected. I mean, if you want to project yourself as a leader or in a certain way, does using humor, how do you avoid that pitfall of just being taken only humorously and not being taken seriously?
I think when we speak humorously, it's not that we do not have a message. A lot of times we're able to say so much more than in a humorous way, rather than when we are, when we are very serious. For example, I have a humorous speech on how unromantic my husband is. So I have so many anecdotes about how I got plastic dabbas for gifts, and he doesn't like candlelight dinners because he thinks you don't know what you are eating in that candlelight, and the hotel is serving stale food. The whole speech is humorous, but by 2/3 of the speech, I turn it around and I say, that if he's not romantic, it's okay, but he has always stood by me. I make it something that is good for me, and I talk about the times that romance is not, it fades. It is somebody standing by you and supporting you throughout your life. It is that which is more important. So I'm giving my message across while being humorous about it. So it's a humorous speech are not clownish. They are something which you are trying to say. You're poking fun maybe at the government or at a social norm that is something that is happening around you. You're doing it in a humorous way. I hope people are taking me seriously. Yes, I see the red flag on. I'm fine if the TMOD allows. I'm fine giving answers, or otherwise, just a big thank you from me.
Okay, I hope questions are over. So well said, DTM Veera. We learn best in moments of enjoyment. Truly said. Thank you so much for educating us on how dash of humor can bring a whole new dimension to our speeches. So having said that, let us move on to our next section, which is the prepared speech section. So our speaker for today, he is a chartered accountant by profession and a teacher by passion, who is currently practicing and also teaching finance, accounting, and taxation at Transcend Group of institutions and other institutions. He is at Dhwani to learn language, communication skills, and personality traits. Before I call upon the speaker, I would like to call his speech evaluator, Toastmaster Sudarshan Ji, to read out the speech objective, please. Over to you, Toastmaster Sudarshan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shruti. Good afternoon, Toastmasters and guests. Toastmaster Prasanna is attempting icebreaker speech. The purpose of the project is for the member to introduce himself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. Best wishes, Toastmaster Prasanna. Over to you, Toastmaster Shruti.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sudarshan. Well, this Toastmaster is being missing in the scene for quite some time at Dhwani, and now he's back with his icebreaker. And he has aced at table topics, and we know it all. So Toastmaster Prasanna, 3 idiots square and 3 amazing teachers. 3 idiots square and 3 amazing teachers. Toastmaster Prasanna, virtual podium is all yours. Wish you good luck. Over to you.
Thank you. How many of you were telling that your ambition was to become a teacher, doctor, engineer, astronaut, and then travel to the space, etc. in your school days? Definitely. I belong to the same category. I wanted to become a scientist, astronaut, and then I wanted to travel to the space. Well, a very happy evening, fellow Toastmasters and your guests. When 2 angels were praying for a handsome, kind, cute brother to play with them, God blessed them with a child powered with supernatural abilities in 1992. Because of my supernatural abilities, Pakistan couldn't win most of the cricket matches after 1992. I'm blessed to be born in a beautiful village where the seasonal fruits were growing in farms which were just a half a kilometer away from my school. And that were the most memorable days of my life. In 7th standard, I still remember this incident. Entire village was on the school grounds to see the computers which were donated by the Azim Premji Foundation to most of the government schools across Karnataka. I still remember this, my friend, he stood in the queue for about 4 hours and finally he had the darshan of computer and he told us that the computer exactly looks like a TV, but the only change is in front of it, there are a lot of buttons. And we were mesmerized by his explanation. Then I got the privilege to operate that computer and all my village thought that I will become a scientist because I had the privilege to operate that computer. And it was high time for me to become a scientist. So I convinced my dad to buy some solar equipment, some batteries and then other equipments to make one solar car. Finally, after so many days of hard work, I made one model solar car which didn't move. Then I had to make one toughest decision in my life. Of course, I had chosen the toughest decision. I joined in an English medium convent school in a nearby town. Initial days of my school was exactly like Ishan Nandakishore Avasti in Tare Zameen Par movie. All the letters were dancing on the board. And one day, my teacher scolded me very badly for securing 2 out of 50 marks. In fact, he told me this, I am unfit to pursue education. I literally cried. I went home crying. My mother told me to take moral revenge on the teacher. In fact, she gave me one motivational speech which I didn't understand. However, I continued. In 9th standard, new chemistry teacher joined to my school. Of course, she was teaching in 8th standard, but I was in 9th. Instead of putting an ounce of sodium to the water, she puts up an entire bar of the sodium and it exploded in 8th standard, but I was in 9th. I got fever. I didn't go to school for the next 2 days. It was blasted and then exploded. I decided to take up commerce after 10th standard. I put one complete full stop to the science. Then in 10th standard, due to some issues at my village, we didn't have any transport facility. Finally, my headmaster accepted me as a paying guest. He allowed me to stay in his home for the entire year. He is my Amir Khan of Tare Zameen Par. He took extra care. He taught me. He nourished me. He was monitoring my progress. And thanks to him, by God's grace, I cleared 10th standard with flying colors and set the of 6% for my village. And of course, it was recently broken by a student. Then I shifted to Bangalore. I joined Vijaya College. There I met the amazing people. I had the greatest group of friends anyone ever had. During the end of 2nd PUC, the 3 idiots of my life, me, Kiran, Bharat, Bhanupriya, we went to college to collect the hall tickets. And Bhanupriya went to the classrooms to see one last time. And she came to know that science students will write CET exam and commerce students should write CPT exam. And we believed her. We cleared CPT. Then we came to know that we are pursuing chartered accountancy course. Of course, we didn't quit the course. We joined BCom in the same college. I met another 3 idiots. We were travel based. Even if we get 1 day holiday, we used to go on a vacation. Then once in my articleship days, to my boss, I told him that I'm going on a family vacation. In my family, I told them that I'm going on a business trip. Finally, we ended up in Kolkata. Now you will be wondering how Prasanna is getting money. Yes, I was working as an office boy in a tutorial center. That's where I was getting some money. And thanks to Indian Railways, we were having the budgeted and then low cost trips. Finally, the 3 idiots, we managed to clear CA final examinations. That's when I saw the happy tears in my parents' eyes for the second time. Of course, first one I can't forget. That's when I published my book. In fact, my mother told me to send the first copy to the teacher who said I'm unfit to pursue education. But the first copy went to the teacher, that is Amir Khan of my life. Finally, I met one amazing teacher, Mr. Siddharth Kheti. He's the founder of Transcend Group of Institutions with the same dreams like me. I joined there. By looking at the communication skills of my students, I joined this wonderful Dhwani Toastmasters Club. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Prasanna. I think it was humor at its best. I think you knocked us dead by your speech. Way to go. Thank you so much. Well, we have come to the end of the prepared speech section. I would like to check with our timer whether we have time to take a break, a short break. Toastmaster DTM Nana, could we take break for 2 minutes? Or shall we continue with the table topics?
We'll take a break.
We'll take a 5 break for 5 minutes.
Right.
Okay.
So we will be back 4:15. It's 4:10. Yeah? Okay. Thank you.
DTM Nana, how much time I have? Is that
just 2 more questions?
2 more questions? All right.
Yeah.
So I'd like to ask our guest Shalini. Okay, Shalini, for you, the question is: you are walking down the lane in Koramangala. Okay, in Bangalore, Koramangala, you know it.
Yes.
So, Koramangala, and the owner of bungalow, he comes out and gives you the key of his house, bungalow, and say that that's yours. What is your reaction?
First of all, I would say thank you to all of you for being here and putting me in this meeting. If at all I go to Koramangala and see such a person giving me a key of his house, I would be speechless, because living in the Koramangala area is like, especially in the place like Bangalore, would be sorry, I'm very new to it.
It's okay, you tell whatever you feel like.
It will be an honor for me, because that place, it's all the more expensive, and I don't know what would I do living in that place. And secondly, the place itself, it's so filled with people and crowd, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shalini, for attempting it.
Thank you.
All right, I have one more topic, last topic. So I'd like to call upon anyone. Tejas, you would like to give it a try?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So Tejas, your topic is: your son is playing in the play area of a mall. You finished your business, picked your son up, and walk away. When you reach the exit, you hear a woman shouting, "Stop that man!" And you turned to your son and you felt that you picked another kid who is in a blue t-shirt. What's your reaction?
Okay. First of all, I think there is not much to react. Only thing you have to do is hand over the kid back to you, back to the child's parent. That's the first and foremost thing you have to do. Otherwise, you will definitely get beaten up and go to jail. So rather than getting into that situation, first and foremost thing, get out of the situation. And there is a lot of rethinking you have to do after that. Like, how did you miss your child? That's not something any parent can do. And if you are doing that, my friend, you have some serious problem there, because you, whatever may be the stress or whatever may be in a rush you are, if you're picking up somebody else's kid as yours, no, that's not cool, not at all. So after getting back to your child and getting back home, the first and foremost thing you need to do is you need to meet a doctor and get yourself treated for. So I think that's what I would do at that stage. Definitely get out of that situation first and get yourself treated. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nicely said, Tejas. Okay, so with that, we conclude the table topic session. I'll hand it over to the TMOD, Shruti.
What an admirable session it was, Toastmaster Siddharth. Very well crafted topic, all different from each other, and definitely in sync with today's educational session. I think you made us all smile. Thank you so much, and a big round of applause for Toastmaster Siddharth, please. Thank you. Now moving on to our next section, which is the evaluation session. Well, Toastmasters, consistency doesn't equal perfection. It's about improving things that we are doing. It's about receiving constant feedback and by consistently improving them. And that is the key to reach our goals. Henceforth, we have an evaluation session, which is an important session, which will be conducted by our general evaluator and their team. So I would like to call our general evaluator, Toastmaster Jaisimha, to conduct the evaluation session. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shruti. Let's start the evaluation round with the evaluation of the prepared speech. Prepared speech was an icebreaker by Toastmaster Prasanna, and that will be evaluated by Toastmaster Sudarshan. Toastmaster Sudarshan, will you please unmute yourself and give your evaluation of Toastmaster Prasanna's speech?
Sure, Toastmaster Jaisimha, thank you. Good afternoon once again to everyone. Congratulations, Toastmaster Prasanna, on the completion of icebreaker speech. You have successfully passed the first step. Hearty congratulations. Your topic created interest even before speech began, Prasanna, especially what this square could be. That created interest in me. The opening question regarding what the dream as a child was relatable to me and probably to everyone. Both were great to help audience to connect to the speech. Great technique. You use names of movies which are popular and hence related to the content quite well. You use description to let me to visualize the surrounding of your school village. That's a good technique too. It helped me, and I'm pretty confident would have helped audience in general. The delivery of your speech, you used in the delivery, you used pause at appropriate places. The speed was okay, and clarity were very good. Clarity of content was and delivery was very good. So it helped me to understand and absorb the content very well. Thank you. It didn't sound to me like a speech, icebreaker speech at all. Let me be honest here. You were confident, smiling, laughing at times while delivering. There were several sprinkled humor in your speech that kept me engaged to your speech throughout. For example, the description of computer as TV++, how characters appeared to you after joining the convent school. Fantastic. Couple of points I would like to communicate to you, which you may want to work on. One is use modulation and change of tone and volume to increase effectiveness, to convey the emotion if required. The second improvement second thing you can work on is trying to stand up and deliver speech so that you can use the hand gestures, and that will add effectiveness to your speach. Both will enhance the speech effect. A great start, Prasanna, for your journey in prepared speeches. Very well delivered speech. I'm looking forward for your next speech, Prasanna. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Jaisimha.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sudarshan. That's a very nice evaluation of Toastmaster Prasanna's speech. Even I loved Prasanna's speech, especially the sense of humor. It was thoroughly enjoyable. I have just one word of advice, and that is the eye contact, Prasanna. Now, it's very difficult to keep eye contact when you're seeing so many windows here in front of you, but it's always better to practice looking at the camera so that we can see your eyes clearly. If you don't look at the camera, then we will be looking at your forehead, or probably see like how I'm looking now, below the camera. So you'll be looking more at my forehead and my head rather than my eyes. So it's always better to look at the camera when you speak, so that your eyes are visible to us. And Toastmaster Sudarshan, nice evaluation. I wouldn't really advise the speaker on the vocal variety part, because it's just his first speech. Going forward, I'm sure he will learn. But I like the way you talked about gestures and standing up and speaking, and these things are easily implementable. I think Prasanna can do that in his next speech. A big round of applause for the evaluated Toastmaster Sudarshan and the first time speaker, the icebreaker speech of Toastmaster Prasanna. Since we have only one speech today, we will start the evaluation with the tag team. I would now like to invite the tag team, starting with the timer for today, distinguished Toastmaster Nayana, to give a report on what happened during the session. Distinguished Toastmaster Nayana, over to you.
Thank you, General Evaluator. All the speakers were in time. Nobody spoke over time or under time. Congratulations. The president took 8 minutes and 50 seconds. The educational center went to 30 minutes and 45 seconds. That's fine. Prasanna took 6 minutes and 19 seconds. And Sudarshan Ji, on his evaluation, he took 2 minutes, 40 seconds. And he could have spoken 20 seconds more, because evaluation is very essential for the speaker. And for the table topic speakers, all were in time. Congratulations. Back to the General Evaluator.
A big round of applause for distinguished Toastmaster Nayana, not only because it was an impromptu timer role for her. She volunteered and committed herself to this role because the actual timer, whoever it was, didn't attend the meeting today. Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Nayana. A big round of applause for her for taking up the role. And not just this role, even the Sergeant at Arms role, dual role she's taking today. The next person in the team, the R counter, is Toastmaster Kokila. Toastmaster Kokila, will you please unmute yourself and give your report?
Thank you, Toastmaster Jaisimha. So here's my report with respect to how many times our speakers used the R's and the ums and so on. Our president used R thrice. Vijay, I think, is a guest. He used R thrice too. TM Shruti used R once. TM Jaisimha used R once and one and TM Veera had 7 R's and 2 ums. TM Prasanna had 2 R's. And coming to the table topic speakers, TM Vivek had 2 R's. Vamsi had 1 R. Vrinda had 1 Vijay had 4 R's. Veera had 2 R's. Guest Shalini had 4 R's and 2 ums. Tejas had 1 R. And TM Sudarshan Ji had 2 R's. So that's a report from the R counter. Over to you, TM Jaisimha.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kokila. Let's now hear the God's report. The grammarian for the day, Toastmaster Sudarshan. Over to you. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you so much. I will. Today, what I discovered is it has been raining outside, but there has been not even a drizzle. Just one speech today here in Toastmasters. So probably this will be the shortest grammarian's reports. God's report will be very short. I'll begin with usage that requires improvement. Okay. Joined to my school. The appropriate way to put it is joined my school and met the amazing people. Met some amazing people is the right usage. And coming to, I would congratulate TM Shruti for using the phrase of the day. And however, the word of the day was given a go by today. I don't think anybody used, nobody was ravenous enough to use it, I think. And DTM Veera Katpitia, Distinguished Toastmaster Veera, thank you so much. It was wonderful. Enough fodder for writing a humorous speech. I will pick that phrase. It was outstanding. And I guess humor is serious business because it takes 2 to 3 weeks to come up with to write one speech. And I loved to do the opposite of putting fire into your speech. That was fantastic. And over to you. That was as short itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sudarshan. Let me now start the evaluation of the meeting today with the Sergeant at Arms, Distinguished Toastmaster Naina. She gave the 3 rules of the meeting, and then she set the tone for the meeting. The introduction of the presiding officer was very well done. The best part, of course, was that she volunteered to do the role of Sergeant at Arms, and we should really appreciate the commitment and that Distinguished Toastmaster Naina has towards Toastmasters movement. Really, dual roles today, not at all hesitating to take up roles and responsibilities. That's a hallmark of Distinguished Toastmaster Naina. A big round of applause for her. A couple of pointers, Distinguished Toastmaster Naina. One, the guest link. I think I didn't see it in the chat box. Maybe you could have sent the guest link for the guests to register themselves. Number 2, the contact details of the XCOM that could have been given in the chat box, so that any guests who have come here today, we have a few guests who, even now we can put it on the chat box so that they can contact in case they're interested in membership. And also for further details on Toastmasters, it's always better to have one of the XCOM contact details of one of the XCOM members. And I think you could also given the agenda of the meeting at the start of the session. So because I didn't know that we will be starting with the education session and subsequently we'll go to the prepared speeches. I didn't know that. Maybe you could have given the agenda so that everybody would have been clear about what's going to come first and after that, things like that. All said and done, good job done to Distinguished Toastmaster Naina. We really appreciate you for your commitment. A big round of applause for her. Presiding Officer Toastmaster Vinitha. The best part about what I like about your presiding officer speech is the way you give your speech. Your voice is so pleasant and so soothing. You bring a sense of calm to the whole meeting. I think that's the best part. The way the composure when you speak is so nice. It's so pleasant. You energize the meeting. The guest introductions were done very well. The takeaway for me of planting seeds today for a better tomorrow, and the message you gave that you need to put effort to nurture the growth, that was very well done. The presidential address, the takeaway was good for the audience, and I really learned something new today from your presidential address. A big round of applause for the presiding officer for today, Toastmaster Vinitha. Toastmaster of the day, Shruti. Was this your first MC role? This is the first time you've taken this role?
Second time.
Second time.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the finest MCing I've seen from a long time.
Thank you.
You talked about Ralph's medley. You talked about the structure of Toastmaster. I'm not very sure whether you talked about the Toastmaster movement, that we have so many clubs in so many countries and things like that. I didn't catch it. Maybe you didn't talk about it. The speaker introductions were fantastic, very thoroughly done. I really liked the effort you put towards making this into a good MC session. I could see the preparedness in the efforts you put. The way you conducted yourself as an anchor for this particular meeting was absolutely fantastic. The theme of the meeting, consistency, is the key to success. That was also a theme which resonates with everybody, all the Toastmasters. It was very nice. I really liked the Chinese bamboo tree story. And I'll also like the way you used quite consistently throughout your session. That was also very well done. One thing I would like to talk about, two things actually. One is, as a MC, one of the main things you do is to energize the meeting, and to do that, to keep up the energy levels in the meeting throughout the meeting consistently, you need to constantly interact with the audience. I think that's one thing which all MCs have to do it, constantly interact with the audience, ask them open-ended questions so that they reply to you. And then, so once people start interacting with you, naturally the energy levels will go up. So audience interaction is one thing, but that has to be done consistently throughout the session. That's something which you can probably implement next time when a Toastmaster. And the second thing is about transition. Now, transition is what you say immediately after. For example, you talked about when distinguished Toastmaster Veera completed her education session. You said that you said that we learn best in the moments of enjoyment. That is what the distinguished Toastmaster Veera had told. It was very well done. But even better would have been what you learned from the education session. What was your personal takeaway from that education session? Or what was the message? Basically, you reinforce what the previous speaker spoke. That's the transition. Now, when the prepared speaker, when he spoke, or in the education session, when after that, the transition you give is what reinforces what the speaker spoke. So that's the transition part. So these two things, probably the audience interaction and the transition part. So these two things, if will further improve your already fantastic emceeing. Great job done, Toastmaster Shruti. Give it all to the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Shruti. Fantastic job done. Toastmaster Siddharth, as usual, I really like the kind of topics you have chosen. Lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. It was fun-filled, very entertaining. All these topics, whatever you've chosen, were. You explained what table topics were all about. I'm not very sure whether you talked about the timings. Did you? Not very sure. I didn't. Probably I didn't catch it. Very creative, very nice. I like the way you called the choice of speakers were also very good. You started off with a few speakers who spoke well, and then you started with the guest later on subsequently, and also you called the Cavaliers. The choice of speakers were very good. The choice of topics were fantastic. Just one word of suggestion, one suggestion for you, and that is two things actually. One is the topics had very long sentences. Now, it's always preferable in an impromptu speaking session that you keep the sentences as short as possible, so that number one, an audience understands what the speech title is, and by the time you end the speech title, the starting of the speech title would have been, in some cases, forgotten because of the long sentences. So it's always better to keep the sentences short. And transitions, again, as in whenever the table topic speaker speaks, there should be a small, maybe 5 or 8 second transition from your side about what the speaker spoke, what the table topic speaker spoke. That's the transition. So these two things, if you just keep in mind, then next I'm sure it will be much more, even better than what you did today. Great choice of topics, but very fun-filled and very entertaining table topic section today. A big round of applause for the table topic master, Toastmaster Siddharth. I'm not very sure if I should be evaluating the education session. Not very sure about it, but I like the education session very much, especially as Toastmaster Shruti said, that we learn best in moments of enjoyment. That's a nice way to start the education session. For me, the revelation for the whole education session was that we can create humor whenever there are unpleasant situations and conflicts around us. I mean, I had not realized that. And now after hearing it from you, I realized that it's so true. Whenever we have unpleasant situations around us, whenever we have conflicts around us, that gives us a lot of scope to create humor. That's something very nice. And even at that point, that particular point of time, whenever there's something unpleasant, and if you are able to create humor, I think it's going to be good for your own life too. So that's something which I learned today. Very enjoyable, not just enjoyable, it's a huge learning experience for me too. How to add humor, how to a dash of humor. And I especially like the way you talked about the twists, how to give a twist whenever you want to add humor to your prepared speech. A great educational session, Toastmaster Veera, distinguished Toastmaster Veera. Thank you very much for coming around to Dhwani Toastmasters and giving us this education session. A big round of applause for distinguished Toastmaster Veera. Everything about today's meeting was fantastic. I would have loved if some more audience from our own club would have joined the meeting. I think a little bit more effort needs to be put from the XCOM side to bring in more people from our club. A lot of people are missing. Thanks to the Gaveliers who have joined today, the number of people in the meeting is quite high. But I would have wished, especially when people come from outside, so much effort would have gone into this education session. And when people come from outside, it's always good from our side to show respect to the speaker and also participate and interact with the speaker whenever people come from outside. It's our responsibility too, and that's the commitment we have to show towards Toastmasters, and that's something which was a little bit disappointing from I thought maybe the XCOM can put in some more effort. Maybe even the members, we have all taken a pledge that we will live up to the Toastmaster ideals, that we will participate in meetings, that we will interact and be a part of the Toastmasters journey. But it's a little bit disappointing to see many members missing today. I would allow to see more Dhwanians interact and join the meeting today. That's something which probably we need improvement. But for that, everything about the meeting was fantastic. A big round of applause for everybody who participated in today's meeting. And from my side, it's over to Toastmaster Shruti to take the meeting forward. Over to you.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator, for conducting such a wonderful educational session. I'm sure we are all going to take the feedback given by you and apt to the theme. If we consistently take feedback and work upon it, we will definitely achieve whatever we want to. Having said that, the difference between those who succeed and those who fail lies in the ability to stay on the track in pursuit for your goal. I will conclude my role by quoting Martin Luther King. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then try to crawl. But whatever you do, keep moving forward. This is what being consistent truly means. And yes, consistency, persistence, and patience is the only key to success. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity and letting me conduct such a salubrious meeting. Signing off and handing over the stage to our president, Toastmaster Vinita. Over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster Shruti. I'm logged in on 2 devices due to some technical issues, so just bear with me for that one. We are almost towards the end of the meeting, and as usual, we had a great learning session. It's always a pleasure to hear feedback from Toastmaster Jayasimha, how succinctly he uses the short amount of time that a GE gets to evaluate almost every role taker, and the crisp feedback that people can improve on is not just for the role taker today, but for everybody else as well. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank DTM Veera, who was there with us. And when we hear humorous speeches, we enjoy them so much that we forget what we enjoyed. And like DTM Mini shared, sometimes we get so involved in our joke that we don't convey it properly in a speech. And you touched upon all the technicalities of a humorous speech and and you broke it down for us so that we can actually implement how to deliver a humorous speech with examples for each point that you were substantiating and bringing it back to our memory. So thank you for that. Very well done. I know a lot of preparation goes into giving so much of crisp content and learning to fellow Toastmasters. And I'm especially grateful that you did that for us. And I hope to see humorous speeches in our club, inspired by the talk that you have given. I myself am inspired to give humorous speeches the next time, using some of the pointers that you shared today. Thank you so much. And like Toastmaster Jayasimha mentioned, a lot of the members missed it today, but we will share the recording so that they can actually take advantage of this learning opportunity. But everybody who have been here, we had a good turnout of guests who were also wonderful sports who actually took up table topics. I remember being tongue-tied as well. So Shalini, it is difficult when somebody hands over a key to a Koramangala house. We just don't know what to say, and we just hope that such things will happen to us. That's all I can say. And I appreciate all the guests and the galleries who actually participated in the table topics. So thank you for that. And we learned something from each one of your table topics to take away and become better speakers ourselves. So I would like to ask for some feedback from our guests on what they thought about the session.
Yeah, so I can share my feedback. The educational session was really nice. Thank you, Veera, for a very good educational session. And apart from that, the session, the way it was conducted is definitely very good. But yes, like the feedback given by Jayasimha, I also have heard that usually for Dhwani, there's a good turnout of people. So today I did see a good number of people, but I also came to know that there's a Gavalier group also that has joined today. So I think when all the members come, even the numbers will be even higher, which will actually be a very good platform for people who want to practice their communication skills, both speaking as well as leadership. So I still feel that turnout is good today, but when I heard that there are still few more members are going to come, it makes me even more happy to attend more sessions. That's all I have from my side.
Thank you, Vijay. Is there anybody else who would like to share their feedback?
Yes. Hi, this is Shalini here. This is the first time I'm attending any Toastmaster sessions. This is actually quite new to me. I have heard a lot about this Toastmasters, and public speaking is not my area where I should speak and say something. So I'm trying to learn too many things around here. And yes, when I also saw the Gavaliers, yes, I was quite surprised to see them. And I would surely like, as you can see, my son is also here. He also likes to speak about things and stories. He has got too many things to say. So by any chance, if he can also join, I would be quite interested in that also. And yes, I learned a lot today, and that education sessions are quite eye-opener for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Shalini. I would like to tell the guests, like we usually do, even in our in-person meetings, do come in and attend another session in the next couple of weeks. It's always good when you're in a flow to kind of explore what this club is about, because each meeting is different and has a different vibe and different learnings. So we expect to see you the next week as well. Is there anybody else who would like to share feedback?
I am Tejas here.
Yeah, Tejas.
Thanks for this opportunity to attend your session today. This is the first time I'm attending a session outside the club which I was part of. So this was a refreshing experience today. and enjoyed it, especially the TMOD session. That was fantastic. Definitely, I would like to be part of it going forward. Thanks.
Thank you, Tejas. For any of the guests who have any feedback, you can reach out to Siddharth or me. I have shared both our numbers on the chat box. So do reach out to us or type out any questions that you have. We can help you with that. And with that, we don't have the voting session, which I mentioned in the chat box. Why? Because the Toastmaster Nana has only 2 hands and she can do only that many roles. Our regular SA couldn't make it today, and that is the reason. But that doesn't stop us from sharing the feedback about our fellow Toastmasters to them. So please feel free to leave your comment on the chat box, or you can do it offline through WhatsApp or a call. If you like your colleague's speech or evaluation, please do mention it to them. It's always a boost of energy when members acknowledge and we are able to see where our hard work can pay off. So it's the fodder for the ravenous Toastmaster in us. So with that, I would like to conclude today's meeting. And for the next week, we mostly will have an offline meeting, but we will communicate that in our WhatsApp group. So I thank you all for joining today. And with this, I conclude our meeting for today. See you all next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vanita. It was a pleasure to be over here.
Thank you, DTM Veera. Our pleasure.
I'm signing off. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Shalini, you wanted to know about a Gavalier Club, right? So you.
I have added her to our guest group, Sudarshan. I'm not sure if she's
Okay,
still
good,
here
good.
or logged out, but we can reach out to her through our guest group.
Sure.
If you have the details, you can pass it on to me and I'll give it to her.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, she's there. Okay.
She's here.
Yeah, I'm here only. Yeah, and I surely wanted to know about the Gavalier Club.
So, Vinita, DTM Naina is mentoring Gavalier Club, isn't it?
Yeah, I will send the number to Shalini.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shalini, I'm
Shalini, I'll message her number.
I'm the counselor
nice.
for the Gavalier Club, and those kids all are my kids. And the age group is 10 to 17 years.